Hello my dear friends, this is Nupur Jain, Faculty of Biology from Apex Classes EduTech digital platform. Today we will talk about our class 10th first chapter of biology, that is life processes. When we talk about life processes, the life processes are basically the process which are needed for the regulation of our life. So when we talk about a cell, suppose for example, when we say that we already discussed it in class 9 that a cell is basically composed, cell is the basic unit of life. This cell is basically grouped together to form tissue, that group together to form an organ system, and then an organism. So when I say that a cell is a basic unit, so that cell is basically used for the different purposes. Now, what happens in life processes? When we say about our life process, suppose we are walking, suppose we are riding a bicycle, suppose we are eating, suppose we are respiring, suppose we are urine excretion takes place, suppose we are doing a muscular movements. So all these are categorized in a single process, that is life processes. Everything we are doing is a life process, or we are saying that a basic activity we are doing. That basic activity is considered in these categories. Now, what happens is when we talk about our life processes, which we will discuss in this chapter, are nutrition, first of all. Second is respiration, respiratory system. Third is circulation in our body, circulation in our body, or lower organisms or in our body in humans, that is through heart, our pumping organ. Excretion, control and coordination by our brain and spinal cord. So all these activities which are taking place and which are essential for our body to regulate its activities. I already said that the basic activities which we will do in our daily life, and through these activities we will be considered as living, so that these activities are very, very responsive and very, very important for our lives. Now, if I say that if we are in rest condition, do our body giving any signal, or we will say that if it is performing any activity? Yeah. If I say that we are conducting, if we are in sleeping condition, or if we are in very resting condition, our body performs basal metabolic rate. That means basal metabolism is performing in our body. So the minimum metabolism is also taking place in our body, whether we are in resting condition, or normal metabolism is also taking place in our body when we are basically doing any activity. So here all these activities we will discuss one by one chapter we will discuss further. Now, the first chapter which we will going to discuss is nutrition. Before starting with nutrition, first of all, some basic terms we will discuss. First term that we are going to discuss is metabolism, because in every event of our life, metabolism is very important. If we are eating a food, if we are our body cell is oxidizing our food. So all these activities are basically metabolic activities. So what is metabolism basically? A metabolism is a process in which our body is basically synthesizing a substance or degrading it, or basically a body regulates our basic body functioning. How? Suppose if I say metabolism is the basic activity in which there are two activities performed. It may be anabolic activity, anabolism, or catabolism. Anabolism, as the name indicates, is additive activity. That means in this, the simpler substances are converted into the complex one, in which the simpler substances are converted into the complex one. In contrast to that, in catabolism, complex substances are degraded to simpler ones as required by our body. Say, if for example, if we are eating a food, then when we are eating food and after a short time period, when we are continuously eating, then our body, the blood glucose level, if the substances we eat is in the form of glucose, the food we are eating is basically goes to the blood, and that blood goes to the different parts of the body carrying these nutrients. So the blood glucose level, for example, if it is high in the bloodstream, the certain hormones or the certain activities takes place, and this glucose is converted to glycogen. This glucose, when converted to glycogen, is anabolic activities, because the basic blood glucose level is 80 to 100 mg per 100 ml blood. So when the need is complete, the excess glucose which will not be needed by our body, this will be converted to glycogen and is stored in liver. So liver stores it, and whenever we are in a starving condition, suppose we are starving for almost 1 day or 2 days, then this glycogen and other substances in our body will again degrade and will again lysed and converted into glucose, so that our blood glucose level will again be normal. So here what we will say, that anabolism additive activity, suppose this glucose is converted into glycogen. So the formation of glucose to glycogen is glycogenesis. The simpler substance is converted into the complex one. This is known as glycogenesis, and converted into complex one. So it is known as anabolism. If the complex one is converted when needed in our body to simpler one, this process is known as catabolism. This process is catabolism, and this process is anabolism. So our body is performing basic metabolic activities. There are many other activities. I have just given one example of that. If I say that anabolic activities, so photosynthesis is basically an anabolic activity in which the basic inorganic nutrient CO2 and H2O is converted to glucose. Whereas when we talk about in respiration, when food is oxidized, food oxidation takes place, that process will be considered under catabolism. So here one more example, that is in anabolism. In anabolism, photosynthesis, and example of catabolism is respiration. So I've already said that I've just given some example of that. There are many more examples of anabolism and catabolism. These activities are togetherly considered our metabolic activities in our body. So the need of this, because when we further study nutrition, there are many times when we come across the words anabolic activity, catabolic activity, there are metabolic activities. So first of all, we have to learn about this. Now, I have already said just the term basal metabolic rate. Basal metabolic rate is the minimum metabolism in our body which should be taking place in our body. Okay. Now we come towards a word, that is nutrition. Again, before discussing nutrition, I will discuss what are nutrients first. Okay. Now, what are nutrients? First of all, what are nutrients? Okay. Now, nutrients are basically the substances which we will obtain from surrounding, from our surrounding. Why? For the use of as an energy source, as a source of energy, as a source of energy to perform various metabolic activities. To perform various metabolic activities in our body. Various metabolic activities in our body. Now, what are these nutrients? For example, we say these nutrients are carbohydrates. We say these nutrients are carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins. These are our basic nutrients which are used by our body in various parts of body, different functions. They perform different functions. How? First of all, we talk about carbohydrate. It is a substance which gives us energy. For example, glucose, sucrose, starch, cellulose. These all are basically carbohydrates. Now, these are the examples of carbohydrates which you have known all these examples, and the basic functioning I'll just discuss it. Glucose, you already knew that the glucose is the part, glucose is the substance which basically release. Suppose we are very tired, we just take 1 spoon of Glucon-D or glucose, we will mix it in a glass of water and we will just drink it for instant energy. Okay, so we will when we want instant energy and when we are feeling very tired, we just use glucose or Glucon-D so that we will just have it, and it gives instant energy. These all are basic carbohydrates. Suppose we talk about cellulose, we already know that cellulose is a part of plant cell wall. So it is plant cell wall is composed of cellulose. We talk about starch. Plants store food in the form of starch. We will discuss it later. That if it forms the food in the form of glucose, but it stores in the form of starch. Glycogen, I already said that our liver, our muscles stored food or any nutrient, any energy component in the form of glycogen. When we need, when we have a lack amount of glucose in it, in our blood or in our body, so that this glycogen again converted into glucose. Now, the next part, that is protein. This protein is basically used for bodybuilding. This protein is used for bodybuilding or worn out tissue or any for repairing mechanism. The protein is needed. There are numerous number of proteins present in our body. More than very large amount of proteins are present in our body. Their functioning are different, their functions are different. How? Suppose, for example, general examples, we say that this is our nails, this are hair, they have keratin protein. Okay, our muscles have protein, our bones have protein, our cartilage have protein. There are numbers of protein present in our body. So we need to eat the proteinaceous food because protein sources are very less available. So you should eat the proteinaceous food because it basically repairs, regenerate, bodybuilding our body. So there are numerous number of proteins. Say, for example, I already said that keratin is a protein. Muscles have, and there are bone has protein. So there are numerous number of proteins. I already just written 2-3 of it. Now the fats, they also gives us energy. There are numerous number of fats. In our daily life, we eat any fat substance that we eat, ghee or oil or anything, they have basically fats in it. Cholesterol, steroids, they all are considered in this category. Vitamins, there are numerous number of vitamins, vitamin A, vitamin E, vitamin B, so the vitamin C, vitamin D. which will be vitamin D will be recovered from sunlight. So these all are the basic nutrients which are required by our body. Vitamin A, B, E, C, D. There are numerous number of vitamins. So these are basic nutrients. So nutrients are the substances which we will obtain from the surrounding for our various metabolic activities to perform. They gives us energy, they helps in our bodybuilding, they helps for the instant energy, they helps to store the energy, and there are numerous number of vitamins. So these are basic nutrients which will be used by us. Now, after the nutrients, the next part we will talk about is nutrition. Now we will talk about what is nutrition. Okay, what is nutrition? Say, as I already discussed, nutrients. Now, when we talk about nutrition, nutrition is basically intake of nutrients, and after intaking of nutrients, utilization of nutrients takes place. We can't just say that intake of nutrients is the only way. We have to say that after intaking of nutrient, the utilization of nutrients is very necessary. If our cell doesn't utilize glucose and doesn't oxidize glucose, will the energy production takes place? No. So for the energy production, the cell have to utilize glucose, break down it in the presence of oxygen, so that energy release takes place and utilized by our body. So nutrition is intake and utilization of nutrients. It is a process of intaking and utilization of nutrients. Now, what are different types of nutrition? Okay. There are two types of nutrition. First is autotrophic nutrition, and second one is heterotrophic nutrition. Okay. Now, first of all, when we talk about autotrophic nutrition, the autotrophic nutrition, as the name indicates, auto means self, trophic matlab food or nutrition. So self nutrition or food is known as autotrophic nutrition. The nutrition in which the organism prepares their own food by using inorganic material to convert it to the organic material is known as autotrophic nutrition. So autotrophic nutrition is preparing its own food by using inorganic material for the formation of organic compound. From inorganic material, what will happen? Organic compound is formed. Say for example, we say that from CO2 and water, what will be formed? Glucose will be formed. So autotroph is basically forming organic compound from inorganic material. Now, whereas in heterotrophic nutrition, organism doesn't prepare their own food. because as the name indicates, hetero means different, trophic means food. That means they are not preparing food by their own, they are taking their food from the others and they will utilize it. So, heterotrophic mode of nutrition in which the organisms attains food from other organism and utilizes it. So, this is heterotrophic mode. Attains food from other organisms. Clear till now? Autotrophic, self-nutrition, they are attaining food from other organisms. Now, the next part is different type of autotrophic nutrition. Types of autotrophic nutrition. First is photoautotroph, second is chemoautotroph. First is photoautotroph and second one is chemoautotroph. Okay, now again we split it in two parts. Photo, here chemo. So what will happen? When we say photoautotroph, that means it uses light energy for the formation of food and it uses chemical energy for the formation of food. So, when we talk about photoautotroph, it uses sunlight or light energy for the formation of food. For example, in this again I already said that it uses light energy. Plants, example, plants, algae, blue-green algae, purple, green, red bacteria, etc. These all can synthesize food in the presence of sunlight. So, photoautotrophs are the organisms which uses light energy for the production of food. Light energy for the production of food. For example, we say about these plants, blue-green algae, green algae, purple, red, green bacteria. These all are basically uses light energy for the production of food. Now, when we talk about chemoautotroph, again, as the name indicates, it uses chemical energy. So, it uses chemical energy for the production of food. For example, here we say that methane bacteria, sulfur bacteria, iron bacteria, nitrifying bacteria, etc. Nitrifying bacteria. So, all these bacteria uses chemical energy for the production of food. So, this is basically the classification of autotrophic nutrition. These are the two types of autotrophic nutrition. Now, when we talk about the heterotrophic nutrition, as I already said that heterotrophic nutrition is a nutrition in which the organisms attain food from the other source. Other source may vary, whether it is a host, whether it is a dead organic matter. So, it depends, it varies. So, when we talk about heterotrophic nutrition, first of all, the non-green plants or the non-green organism, that means if they are fungi, if they are parasites, these all have the nutrition, heterotrophic nutrition, so that in these no organic molecule form, organic molecules synthesized from inorganic material, because they do not synthesize their own food. Next thing, synthesize from inorganic material. Now here I already said that there are numerous number of organisms which have heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Now on the categorization or the type of food and the organisms and feeding on that, nature of food, on the basis of nature of food, types are, on the basis of nature of food, the types are: first, herbivores. Herbivores are those which attains food from green plants. Example, cow, goat, etc. Carnivores are organism which attains food from, example, lion, tiger. Omnivores, which feed on both the food, both plant and any material. For example, humans. Next, detritivore. Detritivores obtain food from dead and decay material. Dead material, for example, earthworm. Sanguivore. Sanguivores are those which attains food from blood, example, leech. Frugivore, which attains food from fruits, example, parrot, etc. So, or insectivore. Insectivore, eat insect, example, lizard and certain animals. So these are basically classification of different type of food on it, basically on its nature. So when we talk about herbivores, green plants; carnivores, flesh; omnivores, both plants and animals; detritivore, dead and decay material; sanguivores on blood; frugivores on basically fruits, vegetables; insectivores are those which basically eat insects and lower organisms. So these all are the categorization of food on the basis of its nature, which type of food they eat, the organisms will eat. So they all are heterotrophs, they are not making their food, they are not preparing their food, and basically obtains food from other organisms. So this is the classification. Okay. Now, when we talk about the mode of feeding, heterotrophic classification on the base of its mode of feeding. For that, we say that it is classified into 4 parts. Saprotrophic, parasitic, Holozoic, and last one is symbiosis. Okay, these all are the 4 categories on which the heterotrophs obtain nutrition. How? On the basis of mode of feeding, first of all, we say that for saprotrophs are the organisms which feed on dead and decay organic matter. Dead and decay organic matter by releasing certain enzymes. By releasing enzymes. For example, here we say that fungi. Here sapro word means is rotten. Sapro means rotten. So saprotrophs or saprotrophic organisms having saprotrophic mode of nutrition, the saprotrophs are those which feed on dead and decay organisms by releasing them. How? The fungi which have saprotrophic mode of nutrition, they basically releases certain enzymes on the food, organic food, which is rotten food. I already said that sapro means rotten. So it basically releases enzyme on the rotten food. The organic material which is present in that will degrade down because of the action of enzymes. Then its simpler form is basically taken off by them and they will utilize it. So by using certain enzymes, they feed on dead and decay material. Now we come towards parasitic mode of nutrition. Attains food from host. Attains food from host. We have to remember that parasites basically attains their food from host. How? They basically attains nutrition from other organism, other thing that is host. In this category, the parasite have the benefit of attaining the food, but host doesn't benefits from it. Parasites are just taking their food from the host and utilize it, and host doesn't benefits from it. For example, here we say that flowering plant Cuscuta, tapeworm, roundworm, liver fluke, Plasmodium, which is a malarial parasite. These all are the examples of parasites. They all basically uses the host to obtain their nutrition, as tapeworm, roundworm, going into the host, utilize food and basically utilizes it. So these all are have parasitic mode of nutrition. Now we come to holozoic. Here para means other. Okay, parasitic mode of nutrition. Here para means other. Now holozoic, again we divide it in 2 parts. It basically attains food from the source, and basically it has the process to do or utilize the food. How? In holozoic mode of nutrition, the person or the organism which is obtaining food will ingest the food first. Ingest means intaking of food. So just first of all it intakes the food, then it will digest the food. It will digest the food, then it will absorb the food. The organism will absorb the food, digested material. That means if the organism is taking the food in the complex form, that complex form is first ingested directly, then it will digested by the certain digestive enzymes present in the tract. That digestive enzyme basically cleaves the complex organic matter to simpler ones. After converting into simpler one, it will be absorbed by the blood or the cell. After absorption, it is utilized after absorption. It will be utilized for the body use or for the cell use. So it is utilized in the body, and the remaining material, that means the undigested part which will not be digested or which cannot be digested, that will basically be egested. Here egestion is the removing of unwanted material. So this, in holozoic mode of nutrition, the process will take place like this. The organism first intake the food, then digest it, then absorb it, then utilize it, and then ingest it. For example, here we take examples of human, amoeba, etc. Many more examples are there. So these are basically the parts. Humans and amoeba perform this mode of nutrition. Now, symbiosis, as the name indicates, symbiosis means they have the basic mutual association or symbiotic relationship. So symbiosis, other name is mutualism, also known as mutualism. It is known as mutualism or symbiotic association. Now, mutualism, after mutualism, they benefits each other. The partners benefits each other. Okay. The organism which will feed on other organism or other part, other thing, that will also be benefited by them. So if the organism is taking food from other source, that source is also benefited, and it basically gives food to the first part, and it will be benefited by other also. So for example, here we say that, first example, we say that Escherichia coli is a bacteria. E. coli is the bacteria which is present in our digestive tract in large intestine. Okay. E. coli is present in a large intestine, and what happens here? It releases vitamin B12 in our body. This is important. You should remember that many exams you will face that this question may come, that Escherichia coli is present in a large intestine. It releases vitamin B12, as it is benefiting us because it is releasing vitamin B12, and it also gets the food. As it is residing in large intestine, it will be having the food. So after having food, it will attain the food. E. coli will be having the food, and E. coli, in result to it, it will giving us the vitamin B12, which is very important in our body for the formation of blood and many more things. So symbiosis is basically mutual relationship. E. coli is benefiting us, and in result to it, we are also benefiting it. So this is the one example, and you have already used rhizobium, which is present in the root nodules of the leguminous plant, that is pea plant. They also both benefited us. In leguminous plants, rhizobium, what will it do? Nitrogen fixation. It will help in nitrogen fixation, and in result to it, it will have the food. So another example here is rhizobium. Okay, another example is rhizobium. Rhizobium is present in the root nodules of leguminous plant. In the leguminous plants, so example pea plants, it will help in plants in nitrogen fixation, and in result to it, it will attain the food from it. So they have the mutual relationship, as well as the other example I have given you, that is E. coli, it also have mutual relationship. So these are basically the types of heterotrophic nutrition on the basis of the mode of feeding. They are basically attaining food from rotten food. They are attaining food from host. They are attaining food wholly. They are attaining food wholly. They attain food. They eat food, ingest food, whole food. And basically the process done by it is like this. And in symbiosis, mutualism takes place, mutual association takes place, and ultimately vitamin B, for example, vitamin B12 is released in our body. Clear? Now, after that, all this type of, we already discussed this. Now, in the further chapter, we will discuss nutrition in plants, how photosynthesis occurs, and then the second part, we will discuss about nutrition in animals, how digestion takes place, our glands work, and other things. So, first of all, here we study about nutrition in plants. Nutrition in plants. As we all know, plants are basically producers. That means they can prepare their own food by using inorganic material. Already discussed, they are autotrophs. So, plants are basically autotrophs. They are autotrophs as well as they are producers because they are preparing their own food. Clear? The process by which they are producing the food is known as preparing the organic material is known as photosynthesis. Process of making the organic compound from the inorganic compound is known as photosynthesis. Now, the chapter we will further discuss is about photosynthesis. What is photosynthesis? Okay, see. What happens in photosynthesis? Now, I'll show you something. See, suppose I take one leaf over here. I'm just taking an example. This is our root system. What happens here? This is our stem or which goes upward. There is basically branches, other parts of the part. This is the roots. This is the leaf. This is our stem. Now, what will happen? Okay, what will happen here? From the external environment, as I already said that, first of all, if I cleave this photosynthesis, I say that the synthesis, that means formation of food in the presence of sunlight. Photo means light and synthesis means formation. In the presence of light, the formation of food takes place by the raw materials carbon dioxide and water. Okay, in the presence of sunlight, formation of food takes place. So, from the environment, the gas carbon dioxide comes into the leaf. From the external source, we also have sun over here. It is providing sunlight. CO2 is coming from the atmosphere through the guard cells, through the stomatal opening into the leaf. And here comes the water which is coming from the roots, from the roots. So, water is supplied, CO2 is supplied, light is supplied. So, in the presence of these three factors and one more factor that is responsible here is chlorophyll. One more factor which is important here is chlorophyll pigment. Chlorophyll or chloroplast, the organelle chloroplast is necessary. In all these factors together form glucose. That means in the presence of all these things, CO2, water, light, chlorophyll, the plant green parts, the plant especially mentioned plant green parts, whether it is a leaf, aerial part of the stem, anything which is green in color, that is which is green parts of the plants having chlorophyll or chloroplast will form glucose. That is the organic material formed by it. So it produces glucose and further it is converted it in starch, stored in the form of starch. So glucose is formed and then it is transported to various part of the plant, whether it is upper parts or whether it is lower parts of the plant. Upper part, it goes to the upper parts of the plant, stem part, branches, various branches. It goes to the lower part, that is roots. So the glucose when formed will travels to the different parts and utilization of this takes place. So it is only just I have discussed the basic part, that the raw material carbon dioxide comes from the atmosphere, water grows from the root, and light and chlorophyll, in the presence of light and chlorophyll, it will form the basic organic material, that is glucose. So here when we write about photosynthesis, it is a process in which inorganic material that is CO2 and water in the presence of light and chlorophyll, sunlight and chlorophyll will form organic compound, that is food, So it is a process in which the organic material in the presence of light and chlorophyll will form or synthesize the organic material. This process is known as photosynthesis. Clear till now? Okay. Now what happens in the next part is essential parts for photosynthesis. Okay, the first one is sunlight. Sunlight is very necessary. So when photosynthesis takes place in sunlight, that is light. The light has various type of, so they have the electromagnetic spectrum, solar spectrum. From the different type of light, plant uses visible light. Which has the wavelength range of 390 nanometer to 700 nanometer of solar spectrum. Electromagnetic spectrum, solar spectrum. Plant uses the visible light for the production of food. Okay. What is visible light now? Composed of white light, which has the range of this 390 to 700 nanometer. It has, which is made up of all the parts, all the lights in the white light, that is Vibgyor. See, this is our range, this is our visible spectrum. This visible spectrum has the range from clear. So this range is covered, that is visible light is a white light composed of this. So they have the range of 390 to 700 nanometer composed of this, and here the maximum photosynthesis takes place in blue and red light, and minimum takes place in green light. Why? Because the green parts of the plants reflect green light. Because photosynthesis occurs in green part of the plant, so it basically reflects green light. So the minimum photosynthesis takes place, it reflects it. So it doesn't absorb green light, it reflects it. It can't be used. So minimum photosynthesis occurs in green light, whereas maximum occurs in blue and red light. Clear? So the first factor, essential part of photosynthesis, first is sunlight. Now the next is chlorophyll. Now the next is chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is basically a pigment. Chlorophyll is a pigment present in chloroplast. Makes plant part green. Okay. Where chlorophyll is present, the plant parts will be green because chlorophyll is a green colored pigment. Now, there are many types of chlorophyll, that is A, B, C, D, E, and there are bacteriochlorophyll. Bacteria have also the chlorophyll. So these are the types. Pigment जो chloroplast में मिलेगा. For photosynthesis is in the process of photosynthesis, chlorophyll is necessary. A, B, C, D, E, and bacteriochlorophyll. These are the types of chlorophyll present in it. Now there are the parts. There are the things. There are different things. Suppose there are different type of pigments also. There are different pigments also. Different pigments are also present other than that of chlorophyll. These different pigments are, suppose it is carotenes, it is xanthophyll, there may be xanthophylls, there may be phycobilins. Okay, carotenes are present in carrot. This is basically reddish in color. They are basically orange yellow in color, reddish orange. Reddish orange in color. This is basically orange in color, orange yellow in color, orange yellow in color. For example, in maize, phycobilins are present in algae. Red algae, brown algae, these are present in algae. Whenever the word phyco comes, it is for algae. So the pigment present in algae are phycobilins, for example. Whenever they are red algae, they are brown algae. These all are categorized under this. Okay. So these are different pigments which are present in it. Now, the raw materials. Raw materials for photosynthesis. Raw materials for photosynthesis first is water. As I already said that water comes from roots, by the process of osmosis. By the process of osmosis, soil root uptake water through it and ultimately conduct it to the various aerial part or various leaf parts or various green parts of the plant. So water is taken up by the roots through the process of osmosis. Then this water is taken to the different parts, green parts of the plant for the photosynthesis. So the first raw material which is used is water taken up by osmosis. This you should have to remember, that the process by which water is taken is the uptake of water by the roots is by the process of osmosis. Now the second thing, that is carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is basically a gas. Carbon dioxide is a gas which is delivered to the cell, which will go to the cell through stomatal opening. Any gaseous exchange which will take place during the time of photosynthesis, or whether it is respiration, any exchange, gaseous exchange or transpiration, these all processes are conducted by the stomatal opening, which is guarded by guard cells, These guard cells opens and closes. The opening between them is stomata. This stomata opens and closes. After opening and closing of this, the gases exchange takes place. Now what happens is, this is the guard cells. They have chloroplast in them. They are present in the lower epidermis of the leaf section or any green part. They have nucleus in it, and they have basically, this is a stomatal opening. This is basically stomata. Now, when they are turgid, that means when they have the water in it, they swells, the turgid condition appears, so that when it is in turgid condition, cell swells and ultimately stomata opens during the daytime. During the daytimes, when all the things are available, that is CO2, water, chlorophyll, all the things, when they are present, so in that condition, this guard cells which are present in the lower epidermis have this stomatal opening. They become turgid, swells up. After swelling, that they will open the stomatal opening. Stomata will open, and through the stomatal opening, the various gaseous exchange takes place. During the daytime, mostly it happens. When we talk about we say that when the gases exchange do not takes place, this bean shaped guard cell or the kidney shaped guard cells, this basically, when the water expels from it, the condition will become flaccid condition. Condition will be flaccid. The condition will be flaccid condition. cell expels water and stomata closes. Stomata closes. The guard cells will become flaccid. It basically closes the stomatal opening and they become almost flattened. So, in the turgid conditions, this swelled up stomata opens, gases exchange will be easily taken off, transpiration easily taken off, respiration easily taken off. When they are in flaccid conditions, cell expels water so that the stomata closes and ultimately gases exchange or transpiration will stop. So, CO2 as a gas is also the raw material. I already said that CO2 and water ultimately forms the glucose. So, through this stomatal opening, which is guarded by the guard cells, they basically swells and expels water so that they become turgid and flaccid. When it is turgid, stomatal opening takes place, stomata opens, and when it is flaccid, stomata closes so that gases exchange will stop. So, these are basic raw materials. In the last previous scene, we already discussed nutrients. What are nutrients? We discussed about nutrition. We discussed about different type of modes of nutrition, whether it is on the base of nature of food or whether it is in the base of mode of feeding, which whether they are parasitic, whether they are saprotrophic, and different types. Now, then we will discuss what is photosynthesis, what is its definition, what are their essential parts, whether it is chlorophyll or sunlight, and in the next part we discussed about raw materials of photosynthesis. Clear? So, this is the basic phenomena, this is the basic process, what I have discussed is a basic part. Now, in the next class, we will discuss about what is the site of photosynthesis, how does it takes place, what will be the reactions taking place, and the next, what are the different activities that demonstrate is that the raw materials or the basic essential parts are responsible for photosynthesis or not. So, we will discuss it in the next class. Thank you.
सब्सक्राइब करें हमारा अपेक्स क्लासेस एडुटेक यूट्यूब चैनल, साथ ही बेल आइकन को क्लिक करना बिल्कुल ना भूलें ताकि आगे आने वाले सभी यूट्यूब वीडियोस की अपडेटेड नोटिफिकेशंस सबसे पहले आपको मिले। अपेक्स क्लासेस एडुटेक, सब्सक्राइब नाउ।